Previously on...
Ugh, pop culture.
Hey there, welcome to Midnight Cherry TV for another episode of Previously on Pop Culture. So if you're new to the channel, if you're new to Previously on Pop Culture, what we do, we take a look at something different every week, every middle of the week, usually a Wednesday or Thursday. We kind of take a look at the impact that maybe something that maybe you forgot about or just something we all loved or maybe some of us loved. You know, whether it was Pez Candy, the influence of Pez Candy, you know, it's provided guidebooks and coffee mugs and endless Pez dispensers. We looked at the Snatch special edition DVD. We opened some Jimi Hendrix Mego figures. We like a little bit of everything here at Midnight Cherry TV. You know, I Want My MCTV. This, of course, is our official mug available on Teespring. Always a good time. But today's episode, we're taking a look at a little bit of religion, a little bit of you know, we just had the Easter season was behind us. We've got some. You know, why don't we take a look at something interesting? Of course, Catholicism, one of the more popular Christian religions out there. But so we want to take a look at some of the stuff we have here at Midnight Cherry TV. Of course, Midnight Cherry TV is a Catholic related channel. Of course, if you watch Today Back in the Day, which is our daily history show, almost 200 something days of the year there is a Pope birthday or a Pope death. There's always some kind of Christian feast days, so it's always kind of an interesting time on Today Back in the Day, which is the daily history stream here on Midnight Cherry TV. You know, always a good time. But today we wanted to look at some things. You know, first off, we got this pocket Catholic prayer book. So never leave home without it. You know, you can just put it in your pocket, put it in your purse. You know, you've got all these little. You've got all the prayers, the confession prayers, litany of the Blessed Virgin. You've got the litany of Saint Teresa. You've got kind of all kinds of stuff in here. This is just the pocket Catholic book. You know, communion prayers, divine praises, prayers after Mass. Just a pocket book. Look how small that is. You can kind of hide it in your hand. Nobody even knows you're Catholic. It's a secret. But Catholic prayer book. Look at that. That's kind of adorable. It's almost the size. You know what's crazy is this is almost perfect to you know, if you ever come across a Mego Dracula, he's scared of it. You see how he's scared of that. So you know, it's a regular book. He doesn't know what it is. Catholic prayer book. Scared of it. So you know, Dracula. They don't like the miniature Catholic prayer books. So I've got it to defend myself there. Something from the archives, the old school archives here at Midnight Cherry TV, the new St. Joseph's Children's Missal. You got all kinds of prayers here. The Gloria. Look at that classic 70s, 80s style of the Catholic Church. Of course, some bad memories for some people out there, but you know, the Catholic Church always doing more good than bad at the end of the day. So you can always kind of appreciate their impact on pop culture, whether it's an artist or even the hospital you're at. You know, for surgery could be a Catholic related hospital. The Catholics always bring the artwork. They always bring that good quality artwork. So you have to, you know, that's the thing. You know, we're gonna have atheists in entertainment. There's going to be people of all different religions, so you gotta appreciate the Catholics for always kind of staying true to the artwork kind of world out there. And speaking of, I want to do a little bit of a comic book review. Here, The Life of Pope John Paul II, JP2 in comics. Introduction by Cardinal Martins, prefect of the Congregation for Saints' Causes by Paper Cuts Publishing. We've got the true story of Carol Ortila, beautifully told in comics. Let me see if I can't read that for you guys. John Paul II was one of the most beloved popes in history. Here is his complete biography told beautifully in the graphic novel format for the very first time. From his youth and inspiration to join the church in his native Poland, through his heroic defiance of the communist regime, which first brought him international attention, and to his leadership as pope. His inspirational quest for peace and world understanding touched millions, reaching far beyond his faithful followers. As His Eminence Cardinal Jose Sarrieva Martins, prefect of the Congregation for Saints' Causes, writes in his introduction, the Pope's message was undoubtedly understood foremost by the young, to whom this graphic novel is primarily dedicated. And there's a little bit of the artwork. $9.95 in the U.S., $12.95 in Canada. Probably can get that on clearance. You can always get that pretty cheap. Try to get a good deal. But this is, of course, a smaller sized comic trade graphic novel. Got the credits: Alessandro Minardi, Werner Moresta, artist, Federico Pietrobone, a colorist. But looking pretty good. Let's take a look. Of course, starting off with the birth of Karol Joseph, who would become Pope John Paul. The artwork's kind of cool. It's definitely kind of a more, to me, I would say, a more Euro style, in my opinion. But you've got a little bit of combination of prayers with factual dates, and there's JP II. There's his first love. He was acting. See, he was acting. That was not. That's the kind of tricking you with this life of Pope John Paul, which is kind of cool. But yeah, exactly. Pope John Paul here. Bravo. It was just a play, if you couldn't tell from that panel. But a pretty basic comic with the panels, but telling you the story of Pope John Paul II, as he goes through life. People believe that he has the calling. Of course, Nazi Germany, Europe torn apart by the Second World War, Poland occupied by Hitler's army. So you got a lot of stuff going on here. Of course, JP2, Pope John Paul, fighting those Nazis. With Christ, through Christ's word, that's kind of where he was coming at it from, using that resistance. But he eventually loses his father. Here's a kind of sad moment. He finally gets back home to his father, and his father has died. That was February 18th, 1941. So a sad moment, but that's the thing, that we can overcome death, overcome struggle. That's kind of the idea behind this story of Pope John Paul. It's inspirational to Catholics, Slavic people from Poland, or the Slavic nations. You've got tragic World War II bombing of this church. And that's the thing, Pope John Paul saw it all. He experienced a lot of stuff on his way to become a priest, on his way to a cardinal. He's teaching some children, about the finer points. But definitely a good book. Definitely a solid, whether you're into religion or not, this is definitely a good explanation of Pope John Paul for you history fans out there. The artwork is solid. The artwork kind of gets it done. Of course, it is text heavy because it is the life of a pope. It's not going to be action packed, but there is a decent amount of action with the World War II stuff. There is a lot of death and intrigue. He's becoming the Pope. O Christ, let me become a servant and serve your holy power, a servant of your sweet power. So we've got some prayers in there from Pope John Paul. Him kind of living his life. So this is a quality comic. Definitely if you're looking for something a little different, that something might be kind of cheap on Amazon. Maybe it might be only a couple bucks on eBay. You've got Pope John Paul meeting all the dignitaries. Clinton. You got Bush, Carter, all kinds of politicians there, presidents from around the world. Of course, the assassination attempt in the Poemobile. You got some extra little date prayers here. First World Youth Day. Some of the things that he kind of put in place, kind of put out there. So pretty good stuff. It gives you a lot of information, a lot of facts. You've got a lot of prayers, kind of your all-around kind of Christian comic for those interested in it. That's kind of the idea. Previously on pop culture, people forget the influence that Catholics have. Who knew that there was a Pope John Paul comic? Did we need it? Maybe we did, maybe we didn't, but it might be a good time depending on how you look at it. But then you got the rundown. First Polish Pope, first Pope to enter a synagogue and a mosque. Shout out to all my Muslim and Jewish viewers out there. First Pope to preach to a Muslim audience. First Pope to attend a soccer game, a rock concert. Undergo an operation in a hospital. You've got... let's see if I can't get that to focus correctly. But yeah, that is a quality. He made all these trips. Met with the heads of state, cardinals out there. A good time. Yeah, look, this is the Life of Pope John Paul in comics, introduction by Cardinal Martins. We didn't even take a look at that introduction at all, did we, guys? But there it is, the Pope who became young among the young. The young among the young. That's a bit of a tongue twister. Some cardinals are not the most well written. But The Life of Pope John Paul, the second in comics. This was a quality book by Paper Cuts, Minardi, Maresta, Pietrobon. So if you're looking for a good little Catholic thing for all you religious folks out there, and if you don't know anything about Catholics, maybe check out Catholicism for Dummies. This does exist. So if you're thinking about converting, you're thinking about you're trying to figure out what is this Catholic thing all about, then this is your casual, down-to-earth introduction for non-Catholics and reintroduction for Catholics. Whether you're a Catholic or not, you may be totally clueless or just unaware of some aspects of Catholic traditions, history, doctrine, worship, devotion, or culture. If so, then this book is right for you. What it means to be Catholic. So yeah, Catholicism for Dummies by Reverend John Trujillo Jr. and Kenneth Briganti. They're, of course, credited as Dr. Reverend, so I don't know exactly how Catholic. Not written by a priest, not written by a nun. So what exactly is Catholicism? Anyway, Chapter 1, the basic beliefs, the Bible. Of course, fundamental perspective. I can tell you right now, it's all about working off those sins. How the Pope gets his job, is it really infallible? The parish priest, the vicar general, deacons, monks, nuns, brothers, sisters, sacraments. In Chapter 3, baptism, of course, confession, communion, confirmation. So this is pretty informative, celebrating the Catholic Mass. So definitely check this out if you're looking for a real basic thing. If you're wondering why am I being told about Catholicism, just realize this. Not every religion gets a For Dummies book, pocket edition. They might get Religion for Dummies. It might be a bigger book, but not every religion gets a pocket book for Dummies edition. But Catholicism did, and that's kind of the impact. That's kind of the impact. Whether you grew up with it, like with the St. Joseph Children's Missal, whether you converted, whether you married into it, whether you're not Catholic at all, whether you were Catholic and you don't like it now, or whether you've come around, it does have an impact. So as long as you kind of recognize the impact that it does have, whether it's these pocket books that you might not even know, somebody close to you could have this type of book in their purse. You would never even know. Maybe somebody has a couple of these in their memory box at home, in their own archives from when they were a Catholic, maybe. And if you don't know anything, maybe this is the book for you. So I've got a little bit of everything here at Midnight Cherry TV. So make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you hit the subscribe button if you want your MCTV. And we'll be back next week with something completely different. Of course, if you have watched previously on Pop Culture, we talked about Insane Clown Posse and Breaking Bad, Saturday Night Live. We talked about Snatch, Twin Peaks, even The Simpsons. And now we're talking about a religion. So you never know what we're going to talk about here on Previously on Pop Culture. That is kind of the randomness of this program here in the middle of the week. Give you a little bit of something different. The weekend we do Gamesplaining, and Mondays we do WrestleMess. And of course every day until August 2019 we do Today Back in the Day. That's right. We do Today Back in the Day. So make sure you check out the Daily History Show. And we'll see you again here at Midnight Cherry TV. Be sure to hit subscribe, hit the like button, and check out more videos from Midnight Cherry TV.